Imagine the scene. You're hurt, vulnerable, with a black eye and tears streaming down your face. Your parents, the very people who are supposed to protect you, look at you in this state and simply walk away. No words, no hug, not even a glance of concern. What would you do? How would you react to such shocking indifference? Get ready to dive into the first chapter of a story that goes far beyond what the eyes can see, where this initial abandonment is just the tip of the iceberg in a mystery that defies reality itself. But the twist doesn't stop there. 30 minutes later, they come back. What happened during that time? Where did they go? And why this cold, enigmatic behavior? Every minute of their absence hides a secret that could change everything you think you know about family, trust, and destiny. This isn't just a story about a black eye. It's about hidden truths, unimaginable sacrifices, and a legacy that could either save or destroy the world. Are you ready to uncover what really happened during those 30 minutes? To discover the true identity of a boy who thought he was ordinary, but carries a power capable of altering time itself? Get ready to question everything you know, because the line between reality and illusion is about to shatter. What would you do if you found out your parents were part of an ancient secret society and that your black The mirror reflected an image I barely recognized. A black eye, swollen and aching, was the visible proof of a night I preferred to forget. The tears, hot and incessant, streamed down my face, mixing with the physical pain and the anguish that suffocated me. Each sob was an echo of the despair I felt, a silent cry for help that seemed never to be heard. My parents entered the room and the air seemed to freeze. Their gazes, once full of affection and concern, were now indecipherable. There was no anger, no shock, just a strange and disturbing absence of reaction. They saw me, saw the black eye, the tears, the exposed fragility, and the silence that followed was more deafening than any scream. I expected a question, a hug, a reprimand, anything that would break that invisible barrier that had risen between us. But nothing came. Only the muffled sound of my own sobs filled the void. They exchanged glances for a brief moment, a silent communication I couldn't decipher. And then, without a word, they turned their backs and left the room. The sound of the door closing was like a final blow. The feeling of abandonment hit me with full force, crushing any lingering hope I might have had. How could they? How could they leave me like this, in this state, without even a word of comfort or explanation? The pain in my eye was insignificant compared to the pain in my heart. The minutes dragged on like hours. Each tick-tock of the clock on the wall was a reminder of my loneliness and the incomprehension that surrounded me. I was alone, hurt, and my own parents had turned their backs on me. What had happened? What had I done so wrong to deserve such indifference? The questions echoed in my mind, unanswered. Only the oppressive emptiness of that deafening silence. The shrill sound of my cell phone cut through the oppressive silence of the room. Reluctantly, I reached out to grab it, expecting to see one of my parents' names, perhaps an apology message or an explanation. Instead, an unknown number flashed on the screen. I hesitated for a moment, curiosity battling the apathy that consumed me. Who could it be? And why would they call me now, in the midst of my torment? I answered, and a deep, unfamiliar voice filled the air. It wasn't a familiar voice, nor someone I could recognize. The tone was urgent, almost whispering, as if the person was afraid of being overheard. "You're in danger," the voice said, without preamble. "Your parents, they're not who you think they are. Don't trust them. Run, now." My heart pounded. Danger? My parents? My mind reeled, trying to process those enigmatic words. Was it a bad joke? A mistake? But the seriousness in the caller's voice was palpable, and the mention of my parents, right after their strange behavior, put me on alert. The pain in my black eyes seemed to diminish in the face of the new and frightening reality that presented itself. Before I could formulate any questions, the call was abruptly ended. Silence returned, but now it was a silence laden with tension and mystery. Who was that person? How did they know about my black eye? And what did "your parents are not who you think they are" mean? Confusion mingled with a growing fear, a sense that I was about to be dragged into something much bigger than I could imagine. I looked at the bedroom door, which my parents had closed when they left. Their indifference now seemed to have a new and sinister meaning. The mysterious call, the warning of danger, the escape, everything fit into a disturbing puzzle. I needed to find out the truth, but how? And most importantly, was I really in danger? And if so, from whom? With my heart still racing from the call, I began to search the room for any clue, anything that could give me an answer. My eyes scanned every corner, every object, as if seeing them for the first time. The familiarity of the environment dissolved, replaced by a sense of strangeness and distrust. Where could my parents have hidden something so important as to justify such a cold attitude? It was then that, as I moved an old photo frame on my nightstand, I noticed something unusual. There was a small secret compartment, skillfully camouflaged in the wooden base. My hands trembled as I opened it, revealing a time-yellowed envelope. Inside, there was no money or jewelry, but rather documents and photographs that would turn my world upside down. The photos showed my parents, but not as I knew them. They were younger, with serious expressions and clothes that looked like uniforms. In one of the photos, they posed alongside other people, all with the same rigid posture and a peculiar emblem on their shoulders. The emblem, a stylized eagle with an eye in the center, was strangely familiar to me, but I couldn't remember where I had seen it before. The documents were even more shocking. False birth certificates, identities with different names, and encrypted reports that mentioned Operation All-Seeing Eye and Alpha Protection Protocol. My name appeared in some of these documents, but with a different birth date than I had always known. The truth, cold and relentless, began to unfold before my eyes. I was not who I thought I was, and my parents, the people I loved and trusted, were part of something much larger and more dangerous. The black eye, the tears, their indifference, everything began to make a distorted sense. They weren't abandoning me. They were protecting me, or perhaps preparing me for something. But for what? And who was the person on the phone? Was she part of this Operation All-Seeing Eye? The questions multiplied, and with each new discovery, the web of mysteries became denser and more frightening. The sound of a car stopping in front of the house jolted me out of my trance. My parents were back. Panic flooded me. What would I do with those documents? How would I confront them? The mysterious voice from the call echoed in my mind. Run, now. It was the only option. I needed to get out of there, find out more about that organization, and above all, understand who I really was. I grabbed a backpack, threw some clothes, the documents, and the photos inside, and ran to the window. It was my only way out. The backyard, which once seemed a safe haven, now transformed into an escape route. Adrenaline coursed through my veins, dulling the pain of the black eye and the fear that paralyzed me. I had to be fast before they came in. I jumped out the window, landing awkwardly on the damp grass. The impact made my black eye throb, but I ignored the pain. I ran without looking back, crossing the garden and jumping over the back wall. The darkness of the night swallowed me, and the sound of my own footsteps was the only guide in that desperate escape. I didn't know where to go, but I knew I needed to get as far away as possible. As I ran through the deserted streets, the image of the eagle emblem with the eye in the center hammered in my mind. Where had I seen it before? Suddenly, a flash, an old book in the school library about secret societies and symbols. I had flipped through it out of curiosity without giving it much importance. But now that emblem seemed to be the key to unraveling the mystery of my own life. I was alone, penniless, planless, and certain that my life would never be the same. With each step, the uncertainty of the future haunted me, but also a strange sense of freedom. I was finally in control, or at least that's what I wanted to believe. The escape was just the beginning of a dangerous and unpredictable journey, and I was determined to discover the truth, no matter the cost. Exhausted and aimless, I found shelter in a dark alley, the smell of garbage and dampness filling the air. The pain in my black eye throbbed, and the cold of the night began to numb me. I was on the verge of despair, questioning every decision that led me to that situation. It was then that a shadow moved in the corner of the alley and my heart froze. Could it be one of the agents of that organization? My parents, perhaps? But the figure that emerged from the darkness was not threatening. It was a woman of indefinite age, with gray hair and piercing eyes that seemed to see through my soul. She carried a grocery bag and watched me with an expression of concern. "What is a young man like you doing alone and hurt at this hour of the night?" she asked, her voice soft but firm. I hesitated to answer, distrust still gnawing at me, but there was something in her gaze that gave me a strange sense of security. I told her a summarized version of my story, omitting the more fantastic details about the organization in the document. She listened attentively, without interrupting me, and when I finished, a sad smile appeared on her lips. "I know more than you imagine, my young man," she said, reaching out to touch my black eye. "That mark, I know it. And your parents, they are not the only ones with secrets." She offered me a sandwich and a glass of water, simple gestures that, at that moment, meant the world to me. Hunger and thirst were intense, and her kindness was a balm for my wounded soul. She introduced herself as Ilara and invited me to her small house on the outskirts of the city. "You can't stay here," she said. "It's dangerous. Come with me and perhaps I can help you understand what's happening." The proposal was risky, but the alternative was to spend the night on the street, vulnerable and without answers. Something in me told me to trust her. I had nothing to lose and perhaps everything to gain. Ilara's house was modest but cozy, an unexpected refuge amidst the chaos of my life. The walls were adorned with old maps, strange symbols, and photographs of people who seemed to belong to another era. Ilara offered me hot tea and a blanket, and for the first time in hours, I felt genuine relief. She looked at me with a compassion that my parents had not shown. "You are safe here for now," she said, sitting in front of me. "Now show me what you found." Hesitantly, I handed her the documents and photos I had taken. Her eyes scanned each item with surprising familiarity. She paused at the photos of my parents, a flicker of recognition in her gaze. "I knew it," she whispered. "They are from the Order of the All-Seeing Eye." Ilara began to explain. The Order was an ancient secret society dedicated to protecting ancestral knowledge that, if it fell into the wrong hands, could unbalance the world. My parents, she revealed, were guardians, responsible for safeguarding this knowledge and those who possessed it. And I, apparently, was one of those ones. "You are a bearer," Ilara explained. "You possess a unique dormant ability that the Order seeks to protect. The black eye, it wasn't an accident, it was an awakening, a sign that your ability is beginning to manifest." My mind tried to process that avalanche of information. Me, a bearer? What ability? And why didn't my parents tell me? Ilara continued, revealing that the mysterious call had been from her. She was a former guardian who had left the Order because she disagreed with its methods. She believed that knowledge should be shared, not hidden. "Your parents left because they were following the protection protocol," she said. "They knew you would be hunted, and they needed to make sure you were far away before the others arrived. But they made a mistake by not preparing you for this." Ilara's words echoed in my mind, reorganizing my entire perception of reality. My parents were not indifferent, they were protecting me. And I was not just an ordinary teenager. I was a bearer with a dormant ability. The pain in my black eye, which was once a symbol of suffering, now seemed like a badge of a new purpose. Eagerly, "What ability?" Nervously, I asked, my voice choked with curiosity and a mixture of fear and excitement. Ilara smiled, an enigmatic glint in her eyes. Calmly, "You have the ability to see what is hidden, to unravel the veils of illusion. It is a rare and powerful ability, but also dangerous if not controlled." She led me to a small room at the back of the house, which looked like an ancient dojo. There were complex diagrams on the walls, ancient weapons, and an atmosphere of discipline and mystery. "Your parents knew this day would come," she continued. "Thoughtfully, they asked me to find you and train you, in case something happened to them." The revelation caught me by surprise. So they had planned everything? The escape, the call, the encounter with Ilara? A pang of resentment hit me. Why so much secrecy? Why didn't they prepare me before? Ilara noticed my frustration, understandingly. They wanted you to have as normal a life as possible. Urgent tone. But time is short. The order is searching for bearers, and they will not hesitate to use force to find you. Thus began my training. Galara taught me to meditate, to control my breathing, to sharpen my senses. She showed me concentration exercises and introduced me to ancient texts that spoke about the nature of illusion and reality. The training was exhausting, both physically and mentally. My black eye, though still aching, seemed to become a channel for this new perception. I began to see patterns in things, to feel subtle energies, to decipher hidden messages and symbols. I was transforming, and with each passing day, the truth about who I was became clearer, and the danger that surrounded me more imminent. Training with Alara gave me a new perspective on the world and myself. I was beginning to master my ability to see the hidden, and with each passing day, I felt stronger and more prepared for whatever came. However, Alara's sense of urgency was constant, and the threat of the order of the all-seeing eye hung over us like a dark cloud. She warned me about the order's constant vigilance and the inevitability of a confrontation. One night, as I practiced my concentration exercises, a silent alarm went off in Alara's house. It was an old but effective system she had installed to detect the presence of order agents. "They found us," Alara whispered, her voice tense but without panic. "It's time. Remember everything I taught you. Trust your instincts." The sound of heavy footsteps approached the house. Alara handed me a small amulet engraved with the same eagle and eye emblem, but with a slight difference. The eye was open. "This amulet is a gift from your parents," she said. "It will protect you and guide you. Use it wisely." Before I could ask, the front door was broken down with a crash. Order agents stormed the house, armed and with cold expressions. They moved with military precision, sweeping every room in search of us. Alara, with surprising agility for her age, pushed me into a secret passage behind a bookshelf. "Go!" she ordered. "I will delay them. Find the truth. Save yourself and all of us." Reluctantly, but knowing there was no other choice, I crawled through the dark passage. The sound of the struggle echoed behind me, the clash of blows and Alara's cry breaking my heart. I was running again, but this time I had a purpose. I needed to find out what the order really wanted and why my parents were so involved. The escape was no longer an act of despair, but the first step in a dangerous and solitary mission. The secret passage led me to an underground tunnel, damp and dark. I could hear the sounds of the pursuit fading behind me, but the image of Alara fighting against the Order's agents haunted me. I needed to be fast, not only to save myself, but to honor her sacrifice. The amulet in my hand seemed to vibrate, and a subtle glow emanated from the carved eye, illuminating the path ahead. I followed the glow, which guided me through a series of labyrinthine passages until I reached a secret chamber. In the center, there was a pedestal with a pulsating hologram. As I approached, the hologram activated, revealing the image of my parents. They were older, their faces marked by worry, but their eyes conveyed unwavering determination. It wasn't a recording, it was a pre-recorded message, activated by my presence in the amulet. "My son," my mother began, her voice choked with emotion. "If you are seeing this, it means the worst has happened. The Order has found us. Heh. We knew this day would come. We are guardians and our mission is to protect you. You are the last bearer of the pure lineage, the only one capable of activating the Eye of Kronos and preventing the Order from using its power to control time and rewrite history." My father continued, "The black eye you have is not from a fight, but rather the awakening of your innate ability to see temporal distortions. We left you, not out of abandonment, but to draw the Order's attention to us, giving you time to escape and find Alara. She is the only one who can guide you. The Eye of Kronos is hidden in the heart of the Order, and you are the only one who can access it. Firmly. Trust no one who does not have the open eye emblem." The truth hit me like a lightning bolt. My parents were not villains, but heroes, sacrificing themselves to protect me and to save the world. Their indifference was a facade, a strategy to keep me safe. The amulet, the black eye, Alara's call, everything fit into a grand and dangerous plan. I was not just a bearer, I was humanity's last hope. And the mission to activate the Eye of Kronos and stop the Order was now mine. With the truth finally revealed, the pain of the black eye and the tears of abandonment transformed into a fire of determination. My parents, silent heroes, had bequeathed me a mission of epic proportions. I was no longer a frightened boy, but the last bearer of the pure lineage, with the fate of time in my hands. Determined, the image of the Eye of Kronos, the artifact capable of controlling time, fixed itself in my mind as the ultimate goal, and the thirst for justice for Alara and my parents propelled me forward. The underground tunnel led me out of the city, emerging into a dense and mysterious forest. Mysterious, the amulet in my hand pulsed more intensely, guiding me through the trees. Thoughtful, I knew the journey would be long and dangerous, filled with challenges and hidden enemies. Gravely, the Order of the All-Seeing Eye would not give up easily, and I would have to use all the skills Alara taught me, and those still dormant within me, to survive and fulfill my destiny. As I walked, I felt a new wave of energy course through my body. The black eye, which was once a wound, now seemed to glow with its own light, allowing me to see temporal distortions in the environment around me. All small ripples in the air, echoes of past events and glimpses of possible futures. I was beginning to master the power of the Eye of Kronos, even before I had it in my hands. The ability to see the hidden was more than just a vision, it was a connection to the very fabric of time. Thoughtful, my mind was already charting the next steps. I needed to find other allies, perhaps those who, like Alara, had left the Order. I needed to decipher the encrypted reports my parents had left, as they surely contained crucial information about the location of the Eye of Kronos and the Order's plans. Determined, and above all, I needed to prepare for the final confrontation, the moment when I would face the Order and decide the fate of time. The sun began to rise, painting the sky with shades of orange and purple, colors that strangely reminded me of my bruised eye and the journey that was beginning. Hopeful, I didn't know what the future held for me, but one thing was certain: I was no longer alone. The legacy of my parents, Alara's sacrifice, and the power awakening within me all gave me the strength to move forward. The story of the boy with the black eye was just beginning, and the world would never be the same. And just like that, we've reached the end of our journey, but the story of the bearer and the Eye of Kronos is only beginning. What would you do if you found out your entire life was a lie, and that your parents were hiding secrets this deep? Would you have the courage to face an ancient organization to protect a legacy you never even knew existed? Tell me in the comments, what plot twist surprised you the most? Do you believe the parents were right to hide the truth from their son? And if you were the bearer, what would be your first step to uncover the mysteries of the Eye of Kronos? Your opinion means everything to us. Share your theories and insights. And if you enjoyed this story full of mystery, action, and jaw-dropping twists, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next chapters of this saga and many other stories that will keep you hooked from beginning to end. Together, let's uncover the secrets of time. I'll see you in the next chapter.